That was UNIFIL. And that is still UNIFIL, chapter 6. But in 2006, Israel again attacked Lebanon, again, the third time. New UN Security Resolution, in addition to the resolution of 78. And now we will see what we will see. Chapter 7, no. No. Impossible to reach a political agreement to give UNIFIL chapter 7. Let's say the possibility to impose something. It's chapter 6 plus. That is, now you have the right to move inside without asking to the Israelis. This point 1 has been completed. Point 2, no, because the establishment of an area free of any armed personnel, asset, and weapons, my foot, the Hezbollah is still there with plenty of weapons. And the control of the border of Lebanon, when you have a government in Lebanon, which is not the case during a certain number of months last year, but he has not asked a request, because the refurbishment of Hezbollah is coming from the Bekaa Valley, from Syria, and we are not authorized to control the border with Syria. We cannot also prevent the overflight of the Israeli plane over Lebanon, violating every day the aerial space of Lebanon. That's it. Darfur, another area, as large as France. Okay? Resolution 2007, 26,000 men. How many men today? Half. Why? Because fatigue. The UN cannot recruit, cannot obtain enough forces according to the mandate which has been voted unanimously on July 2007. It's fatigue. Chapter 7. So now chapter 7. But if you look carefully into the mandate for the protection of NGOs and civilians, but you cannot disarm the troublemakers, the militia, the Janjaweed, those who are manipulated by the different government. You cannot arrest them and disarm them. So it's endless. And that is the explanation why the UN cannot find enough volunteers, enough troops to deploy. Chad, the other side of the border. I spent almost 3 years of my life here. Well, the area to control is starting from Enedi down to the northeastern side of the Central African Republic. Almost 800 kilometers large for 200 kilometers wide. You imagine the mission? Okay. Deployment, resolution 2007. It was only 1 year later that we obtained the total participation of a certain number of EU nations. But without the Brits, without the Germans, without the Italians, without the Spanish. Reluctant. And we had stopped the infiltration for Darfur. But so it has been a success. But for 1 year, now we are gone. Côte d'Ivoire, a success. We avoid a bloodshed. Hopefully, but that since 2002, 8 years later, the election has not yet been organized. When you can look, that is Côte d'Ivoire, that is Kosovo. Kosovo, 16,000 NATO soldiers. 16,000 NATO soldiers. Côte d'Ivoire, 5,000 French, 10,000 UN. Congo, one of the largest UN mission, 23,000 UN soldiers, totally inefficient. Are the armed forces ready to stop a crowd like this? I had a small video that was not working in this computer, unfortunately. Maybe later. What do you do in front of that in order to avoid clashes between? Are we organized to do that? You see that these kind of equipments, APC, tracked armed personnel carrier, are there tools in order to stop crowds on Mitrovica Bridge? Maybe. But we are not equipped, neither trained to do that. And we are obliged to do that. And I understand my US colleagues who are reluctant to do that job. "10 tons Russian BRDM reconnaissance vehicle overthrown by the crowd by hand. The crew, what was his attitude? To shoot with his gun and his heavy machine gun? Fortunately, he didn't. When you are in a country in order to reestablish peace and order, you need to conduct criminal investigation. Otherwise, you are there to bring back peace and justice. Are we equipped in the military to do that? No. It's one also of the reasons why the population is not with us. Crime scene investigation is the same. Sorry for these pictures. So, back to my initial questions. Are the new force of war in the 21st century? My answer is yes. Adapted? My answer is no at this first question. Second point, my answer is no. Is asymmetric warfare the new norm? Since David and Goliath, no. Are we able to learn the lesson from history? No. 3-4 years ago, I made a presentation to my US friends and colleagues, comparing the lesson learned of our war in Algeria and what should be useful